All right, so let's start off with talking about your beta signup page. And a beta signup page is a simple page that you're going to be using to acquire beta users. It has a very singular purpose, and that purpose is to build your email list of beta users so that you can eventually launch to them and ideally monetize your startup using that list. Just so you have an understanding of what I'm even talking about, here's an example of a beta signup page. This is one for Astro, it's actually a startup that just recently launched on beta list. And so as you can see, very simple description of who they are. Has an email opt-in form here, preview of what you're actually going to be getting into, and that's it. Really, really straightforward. And again, just like I said, their singular purpose is get that email address and get people to opt in. So I've seen thousands of these things over the years, and what I kind of formulated down is the perfect structure for one of these beta pages, the same structure that we use with Player.me, same structure that I've seen across a lot of really fast-moving beta launches. So very simply, you have a value proposition as your headline. That's one big headline at the top, value proposition. You have a clarification subheadline, meaning whatever your value proposition is, we're the AI for Microsoft Exchange. Subheadline explaining what the hell that even means. A lot of times people get too technical. Be short and to the point. Your value proposition should be something much like Dropbox, which is just gets things like store stuff anywhere. Really simple. Clarification, the subheadline is what you're going to use to clarify, like, what does that even mean? So, Dropbox, cloud storage that allows you to store a ridiculous amount of stuff for free. And even load more stuff for a paid version for $9 a month. So value proposition, very simple to the point, should only be a matter of words. Subheadline, that's where you get about a sentence or two to actually explain what the hell that even means. Then you have your email opt-in form. That should be on its own line. It should be very front and center, very prominent. Should be easy to spot. Again, you're only looking for the email here, and I'll explain why in just a second. And underneath that, if you have the ability to, have an urgency trigger. So with Hotjar, one massive startup that launched out of beta, Hotjar's urgency trigger was, hey, we are only going to be doing a closed beta by invitation, and in order to get an invitation, you have to sign up by this date. And it was actually, they had like a 20 or 30 day window. And if you sign up in that 20, 30-day window, you were invited to the closed beta. And I think they did a similar thing when they went into an open beta. But basically, add some type of urgency trigger there. You can copy what Hotjar did if you want to. It works really well, to be perfectly honest. But you want something there to trigger them to say, hey, okay, I'll opt in. What we did for Player.me was, hey, if you don't sign up now, you're going to lose your name. And it's, it's kind of like a social network. So like on Facebook, you have facebook.com/your-name. Player.me was the same. It's, hey, you have a gamer tag. Don't let someone else steal it, because if they steal it, you're shit out of luck. So make sure you have an urgency trigger there, whatever that case is. Social proof, if you have it, add it in here. It could be it doesn't have to be people that have used the platform, because obviously you're in beta. People may not have used the platform at all. It could be social proof just about you or about the folks that are developing the software. And it could be something as simple as, the folks over at Astro are really, really awesome. Whatever they build, I'm sure it's going to be a billion times better than Microsoft, something like that. But social proof, just about having other people in there so that they can relate to someone. Even better, social proof could be replaced by a sneak peek video. And one of the beta pages that I'll link to in the description below is one from a friend of mine, and he has a link to a video. The video is actually showing like proof that it works, which is amazing. That's like the best of the best social proof. And in his case, it's a marketing tool, so it's really easy to show that it actually works. Below that, there's obviously going to be some additional sections if you have other content, and the additional sections could be sneak peeks. So it could be, like my friend has, it could be a video, and that works really, really well for him. For Player.me, our sneak peek was, hey, here's 3 or 4 folks that are already on the platform. It was social proof / click here, see their profile, get an understanding of what the hell we actually do. Could be product screenshots. Again, we use this with Player.me as well. We wanted to show twofold. If you don't want to click through, here's everything on one page. It could be a video. It could just be a video of you walking through the platform. A lot more folks doing this because it works really well for Facebook ads later on. List out some features, benefits if you already know what the structure of the startup is. If you're still in a beta ideation phase, you might not have this, but if if you have a software that you're already building, you know your feature set and you know what's going to roll out on initial launch. So outline what that stuff is. It's going to be really powerful for someone if they're looking for something in particular, feature wise. This is going to be a really easy way for them to understand whether you have it or not. And if you do, they're going to be one of the first ones through the door. Pricing, if you already know what that might look like, whether it's a founder pricing, beta pricing, your live pricing, that's always good to have. There was a competitor to Player.me when we were launching who was mobile only, and they had a pricing section there. It worked pretty well for them. And that was just because it was like $1 a month. Like, it was super, super cheap. But, in reality, pricing is going to change unbelievably so from what you initially think in beta phase. So, I wouldn't recommend putting pricing, but you may want to if you already have that sorted out. And then an FAQ. This is a really good one to have. Most people just don't take the time to write it, to be perfectly honest. We had a brief one at Player.me. It was basically just, here's, so what do you guys do? And like, it is as if someone was asking us questions, face to face. So like, what is Player.me? What's a profile? Like, what do you actually do? I already have a YouTube profile. Like, it was simple Q&A, like stuff that we would get through support chat and things like that. It's really, really effective though. If someone hits your beta page and they might have those objections of like, well, I have this, what does yours do differently? A lot of those questions tend to get asked, and if you don't have an FAQ, they get asked in a place where you don't have the opportunity to answer them. So try and put together an FAQ if you can, but if you're in too early of a stage, that's totally fine as well. So some quick tips for your beta page. Only ask for an email. You see, I've highlighted this because this is the most important thing. In reality, when you're in beta, you're going to be stalking the crap out of every single person who fills in that opt-in form. So in reality, you don't need to know their name. You don't need to try and capture more information and lower the potential conversion rate there, because chances are you're going to stalk them on Twitter, you're going to stalk them on LinkedIn, you're going to find out who the hell these people are, why they opt in. And it's all because you want to understand the folks that are being attracted to your company and being attracted to your startup. So only ask for an email. Worst comes to worst, if you say, hey, I'm not going to have the time to do all that stuff, you can outsource it. In reality, you can outsource it for $2, $3 an hour. So don't lower your potential conversion rate just to grab, a first name. It's totally not worth it. Also, in design-wise, it makes it look really garbage. So just ask for an email. That's the best thing to do. Keep your important stuff above the fold. Now, what above the fold means, let me go back to Astro over here. So you can see this one screenshot. Basically, this is all that shows, and I'm on a desktop computer. This is all that shows with tons of extra padding and space all over the place. I just captured what was necessary. But in their case, they have everything above the fold, meaning if you load this up on a mobile phone, you're going to see this top section over here. If you load this up on a desktop, you're going to see this plus a whole bunch of other white space. So the key thing there is make sure you keep your core stuff, your headline, your subheadline, your email opt-in, and urgency and social proof if you have it. Keep those above the fold when someone loads, whether it's on mobile or whether it's on desktop. If you're struggling on mobile, your headline and subheadline are way too long. Again, keep it short and simple. When you keep it short and simple, it's going to be a lot easier to follow this. So next up, give them previews and sneak peeks where possible. Like I mentioned, a friend of mine, he does a video and he walks behind the scenes of the results that he's getting with his platform. Anything that you can do to bring more intimacy to the relationship with your visitor, do it. If you can do a sneak peek video where you're just like, hey, only for you guys hitting this beta page, I'm going to show you what I'm not showing anybody else. And you walk through the platform, like, make them feel really special for coming to your site, make them feel like they're getting to know you when they're walking through that video. And do the same thing whether you're showing them a preview or whether you're showing them a video, whatever the case. But give them something to chew on. The same way you'd say, for sales, give them something to chew on so that they have something to mull over in between sessions. Same thing with your beta page. You want to give them something to chew on so they can say, okay, well, now that I'm still waiting in beta, I can still imagine and fantasize about what this is going to be like. And the last thing, one page, one purpose. Your beta page is not meant to be anything other than an email opt-in form. Do not put social sharing buttons on there. Do not put anything other then your email opt-in form on there. If you have a video, embed it. If you have a link to an image, don't do that. Just put the image on the page. Do not let them leave that page by any means that you've put on the site. It should be a one page, no other thing to do on that page other than opt in by email or watch a video or something that doesn't take them off site. It's one page, one purpose. You can worry about social shares and everything else on your thank you page. Don't worry about it on your opt-in page. So, some resources to help now that I've lectured you a bit. Page builders, ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, LaunchRock, Kickoff Labs are the top 4 in my list. ClickFunnels is one of the ones that I've built a swipe file for you for. So if you have ClickFunnels, you can swipe that entire page and just customize it for your needs. Lead Pages, if people request, I'll build a template for it. Otherwise, I won't. LaunchRock and Kickoff Labs are much more like drag and drop builders where they have tons of templates and they're very specifically for SaaS launches, startup launches. So they have a lot of tools built in that are really, really cool. But I don't recommend them just because the price point's a little limiting for a tool that only does one specific thing to this extent, meaning like they really only do your launch. They're not useful for anything after the launch. That being said, with Player.me, we did it for the same thing. It would have been cool to have LaunchRock or Kickoff Labs, but in reality, $199 a month, $50 a month is a little bit better spent on acquiring users rather than paying for a tool that's only going to be used for Player.me. We were able to have landing pages and everything up through Lead Pages and ClickFunnels, and we spent the money that was left over there on other means. So these are the 4 that I would recommend. If you just want to go through and do it. Tons of other ways that you can do it. Feel free to pop into the Facebook group and ask questions about any way that you're doing it. That's totally fine. I've built these pages in about 50 different platforms, so chances are I'll know the answer to your question. But these are the 4 that if you request videos or you want templates or whatever the case, these are the 4 that I'll actually be supporting in the sense of I can build you templates and things as needed if folks really want like something that they can customize and swipe. So I've done it for ClickFunnels, and if people want, I'll do it for Lead Pages. Some inspiration to kind of help you along here. BetaList is a website, one of the ones that we'll go over later, but basically what it does is it's a directory for beta programs. Beta programs for startups, and it's great to kind of just go in there, look at what's trending, and take a look at their site. Make sure you're covering off some of those elements. But also, if you just want to take a look at like what the competition's doing, they have some pretty good categorization of startups. So if you're running something in like the travel realm, it's a startup for travel, and you want to look at what's popular. BetaList inevitably has at least a half a dozen, if not more, betas that are currently going on where you can take a look at what they're doing and pull inspiration from their copy, pull inspiration from how they have things laid out. And another great page, another great site is Beta Page, literally just a directory of beta websites. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. They don't categorize as well, but they have a lot in there to search from.